In the late 18th century, the American colonists were being unlawfully taxed by the British Parliament, which they disapproved of, causing them to rebel against the British. A little later in the century, Russia, Prussia, and Austria were invading Poland, which led to the Polish-Russian War of 1792 and the Kościuszko Uprising of 1794. These events caused a man named Tadeusz Kościuszko to step up and fight for the rights of his people. Defending freedom, designing victory, Tadeusz Kościuszko and the fight for human rights. Tadeusz Kościuszko was born on February 4th, 1746 into a noble family. When his father passed away in 1758, he ended up attending a well-respected Catholic high school managed by Pierre's fathers in Lubuszew. Then he went to the Warsaw Military Academy when he was 19 years old, where he learned his skills in military strategy, arts, and engineering. Later, when Kościuszko was 23, he got a scholarship from King Stanislaw so he could go to France to learn more skills in those fields. He returned to Poland in 1774, where he tutored a young woman, fell in love with her, and sadly, after her father disapproved the marriage, he went to find employment in the U.S. The education formed his future contributions to both the American and Polish fights for freedom. In 1776, when the American colonies were battling for independence from Britain, Kościuszko got to America, motivated by the ideals of liberty and freedom. He volunteered to join the Continental Army, where his skill as a military engineer soon gained him recognition. He played a big role in supporting significant defensive positions, including the fortifications at West Point. Kościuszko's contributions were not only strategic, but also essential in the Continental Army's victories. During the Battle of Saratoga in 1777, his fortifications helped secure an important victory, which led to France joining the war on the American side. As a result of his efforts, Kościuszko earned citizenship, 500 acres of land, $10,000, and became a trusted figure in the American cause. Kościuszko returned to Poland in 1784, a few years after the American Revolution, where he found his homeland, Poland, under the control of foreign powers, Russia, Austria, and Prussia. Kościuszko remained committed to Polish freedom and social changes, despite the political challenges. In 1794, he led the Kościuszko Uprising against the foreign forces in an effort to liberate Poland and restore its jurisdiction. The uprising, though in the end unsuccessful, demonstrated Tadeusz Kościuszko's leadership and his deep commitment to the ideals of liberty. His forces of just 6,000 people in total, consisting of 2,000 peasants and 4,000 regulars, using scythes, pikes, and no artillery, still managed to gain a victory at the Battle of Racowice and ended up defeating the Russian troops. Despite the defeat and Kościuszko's capture by the Russians, his name became comparable with resistance and patriotism in Poland. Kościuszko was not only a military leader, but also an amazing advocate for human rights. In both America and Poland, he promoted causes that furthered liberty and justice. In America, Kościuszko was a forthright critic of slavery, a practice that contradicted the idea of independence, in which the country was fighting for. In his many letters to Thomas Jefferson, slavery was a big topic of discussion. After his death on October 15, 1817, in Sutherland, Switzerland, his will was initiated, and in it, He wished for the assets in America, such as the 500 acres of land he earned, to be sold so the money could be used to free Jefferson's slaves and pay for their education, marking one of the earliest acts of financial help for the abolitionist movement in the United States of America. In Poland, Kościuszko's fight for rights and freedom was not just for political independence, but also for social changes.
Jefferson wrote at this time, "I see him often, and with great pleasure. He is as pure a son of liberty as I have ever known, and of that liberty which is to go to all, and not just to the few or the rich alone." Kościuszko, while visiting Jefferson, wrote a will to dispose of the properties that a grateful Congress had given him. He had never taken any salary during his 8 years in the Army. The land grant was in central Ohio, that is now Dublin, Ohio, just north of Ohio State University. In his will, he instructed Jefferson to sell the property and take the money and use it to emancipate slaves. More importantly, he insisted that the money be used to educate the former slaves, give them land and tools, and enjoin them to be good citizens, to care for their neighbors and their families, and be prepared to defend their liberty.
He was an advocate for the abolition of slavery, which crushed the commoners and denied them basic freedoms. His efforts to establish a fairer society in Poland were part of a larger vision of freedom that went beyond the battlefield to address the social unfairness of his time. Kościuszko's legacy was evident in his relationships with the Founding Fathers and other influential figures in his time. He wrote many letters to them, showing his significance in the American society. He often sent letters to James Monroe and Thomas Jefferson about Kościuszko's views on America and how it could improve. He wrote to Thomas Jefferson more frequently, as he grew a friendship with him. His military achievements resulted in him earning a multitude of important awards, such as the Order of Cincinnati, the Order of St. Stanislaus, and the highest military decoration in Poland, the Virtuti Militari. His ideals of liberty, justice, and equality made him a lasting symbol of opposition to tyranny. In Poland, he is looked at as a national hero, and his memory is honored with memorials, schools, and even a dedicated national holiday. In the United States, Kościuszko is remembered for his important role in the American Revolution and his commitment to the abolition of slavery as shown in his will. Kościuszko's life and actions continue to inspire movements for freedom and equality across the world. His belief that liberty must be carried on to all people, regardless of race or class, fits in with modern discussions about civil rights and social justice. Tadeusz Kościuszko's contributions to the American and Polish revolutions, his advocacy for human rights, and his steadfast commitment to rights and freedom makes him a significant figure in history. His fight would inspire people in other countries to do the same and stand up for what they know is right. His efforts not only assisted to shape the outcome of two countries that were seeking to gain independence, but also traced an outline for what we have today. Anyone could do this if they set their mind to it, and that is exactly what Tadeusz Kościuszko did. His story shows how a single person can make a giant difference, improving the lives of many people throughout the world.